Behaviors of emotionally damaged people. Emotionally damaged people filter experiences through their pain, often noticing only the parts that reinforce their victim narrative while ignoring their own harmful behavior. This filtering skews their perception of reality and makes it difficult for them to take accountability for their actions. They may project their insecurities, flaws, and mistakes onto others, deflecting blame to avoid facing their own shortcomings. They struggle with emotional blindness, which prevents them from empathizing with others. This inability to connect emotionally makes it hard for them to see how their actions hurt others. Instead of reflecting on their behavior, they often adopt a victim mentality, where they view themselves as perpetually wronged by others, regardless of the situation. Emotionally damaged people frequently exhibit defensiveness. When confronted, they justify their actions rather than acknowledge the harm they've caused. They may also engage in blame shifting, focusing on others' mistakes to divert attention from their own. This behavior often stems from emotional immaturity, which leaves them unable to process their emotions constructively, causing them to focus on perceived slights rather than their own harmful actions. They lack empathy, making it difficult for them to understand or validate the feelings of others. This lack of connection often leads to entitlement, where they feel justified in their actions while dismissing the needs or boundaries of those around them. When challenged, they may deny their harmful actions entirely, rewriting events to fit their narrative and maintain their sense of self. Insecurity plays a significant role in their behavior. Emotionally damaged people are often hyper-aware of perceived slights, but fail to recognize the impact of their actions on others. They may gaslight those around them, manipulating others into questioning their reality to avoid accountability for their behavior. Unresolved trauma often drives their actions, causing them to overreact to minor issues or misunderstandings. This trauma creates a lack of accountability, as they focus on perceived faults in others instead of owning their mistakes. They may also engage in manipulative behavior, using others' mistakes to overshadow their own. Emotionally damaged people frequently experience cognitive dissonance. Admitting their wrongdoing would conflict with their self-image, so they double down on blaming others. They often overreact emotionally, diverting attention from their actions by escalating conflicts. This can manifest in black and white thinking, where they see themselves as completely good and others as entirely bad, depending on the situation. Avoidance is another common behavior. They avoid discussing their own actions by highlighting the mistakes of others or withdrawing entirely. In relationships, they may use habitual criticism to keep others on the defensive, avoiding reflection on their own behavior. Their control issues lead them to manipulate narratives, emphasizing others' faults while downplaying their own. Self-victimization is a recurring pattern. Emotionally damaged people frame interactions as personal attacks, ignoring the harm they've caused. They may use emotional manipulation, such as guilt or pity, to shift focus onto their pain and away from their accountability. They also take everything personally, interpreting even neutral actions as direct affronts. Their inconsistent standards can be frustrating. They hold others to high moral expectations while excusing their own harmful behaviors. They may rewrite past events to appear blameless, engaging in historical revisionism that distorts shared experiences. Resentment hoarding is another behavior, where they collect and amplify grievances while disregarding their own faults. Attention-seeking often defines their interactions. They focus on their own pain to draw sympathy, sidelining the experiences of others. Their fragile sense of self-worth makes it difficult for them to admit fault, as doing so would feel like an attack on their identity. They may use the silent treatment as a form of punishment, avoiding confrontation and accountability. Anger often becomes a shield. They use it to deflect attention from their wrongdoings, making others feel at fault for their reactions. When they do apologize, their apologies are often superficial or conditional, placing emphasis on others' faults rather than taking full responsibility for their own actions. Emotionally damaged people frequently claim to be misunderstood, dismissing the harm they've caused while focusing on their interpretation of events. This chronic misunderstanding often isolates them from others, as they fail to acknowledge the perspectives and emotions of those around them. For more empowering content, please subscribe to Easy Life Studio. They may exhibit passive-aggressive behavior, using indirect methods to express their anger or frustration instead of addressing issues openly. Over-personalization is another common trait, as they interpret unrelated events or neutral comments as targeted attacks. This can lead to exaggerated displays of hurt to draw attention to their emotional pain. Envy and jealousy often underlie their interactions, as they struggle to celebrate the successes of others without feeling threatened. They may struggle with an inability to trust, assuming others will harm them or let them down, which leads to defensive or guarded behavior. This often results in emotional withdrawal, where they isolate themselves from meaningful connections out of fear of being hurt. They may use deflection to avoid confronting their issues, steering conversations away from their actions and onto unrelated topics. Their communication style often includes subtle manipulation, such as using ambiguous statements to create confusion or control the narrative. This can leave others feeling emotionally drained or doubting their own perceptions. Emotionally damaged people tend to avoid vulnerability, fearing it will expose them to more hurt. They may struggle with self-sabotage, where their actions undermine their goals or relationships due to unresolved internal conflicts. This pattern of behavior often perpetuates their feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. Overreacting to criticism is another hallmark behavior. They interpret constructive feedback as an attack, responding with hostility or withdrawal instead of using it for growth. Their reluctance to ask for help stems from a belief that admitting struggle is a sign of weakness, further isolating them from support systems. They often exhibit perfectionistic tendencies, striving for impossible standards to mask their internal struggles. When they fail to meet these standards, they may spiral into self-criticism, which perpetuates their emotional pain. Despite their desire for connection, they often push people away through their defensive or manipulative actions. Emotionally damaged people may struggle to forgive, holding on to grudges as a way to protect themselves from further harm. This inability to let go of the past keeps them trapped in cycles of resentment and emotional pain, preventing them from moving forward or forming healthy relationships. For more empowering content, please subscribe to Easy Life Studio.